Hello, I'm Matt Miller, Fire Chief of the Roswell Fire Department. Today, we're going to discuss escape planning for the home. In accordance with the National Fire Protection Association, some quick safety tips are: to make a home escape plan, draw a map of your home showing all the doors and windows and discuss the plan with everyone in your home. Know at least 2 ways out of every room if possible. Make sure all doors and windows leading outside open easily. Have an outside meeting place like a tree, light pole, or a mailbox a safe distance away where everyone should meet. Practice using different ways out. Teach your children how to escape on their own just in case you can't help. Close all doors behind you as you leave. This could help slow the spread of smoke, heat, and fire. Also, please remember to sleep with bedroom doors closed to buy precious time in the event of a fire in your home at night while asleep. Thank you for your time, and please stay safe.
They said she was on
we get here, well, ever since this COVID, we got 2 different shifts now. So one crew comes in at 6, the other crew comes in at 7. So depending, like once we get here, we clock in. Then the guys do their pre-trip on the Vector. Whoever's driving for that month, they're responsible to do the pre-trip on the truck, check the oil, check all that, the fluids, make sure everything's good. Then after that, then we just head out. We go to the fire hydrant, we get a load of water. The purpose of getting a load of water is to begin our day. We need the water to strip the main lines. And by stripping the main lines is cleaning out all the debris and all that in the line. That way it don't cause a stoppage or a blockage for the customer. Got an operator driving the truck and you have one on the passenger side. The manhole, sometimes we use a sledge and a pick. Sometimes we just use a pick alone, just to open it. Or sometimes the manhole could be rusted shut, and we get our chipping hammer. The chipping hammer consists of running off the air compressor, and that helps us out a lot. Sometimes it takes us a while to open a manhole with the chipping hammer. The passenger will guide the driver up to the manhole, line him up, make sure he's straight with the manhole. That way it's easier to operate the truck. The purpose of the passenger is to get down and get the tubes for the Vector to vacuum the manhole where we do bring the debris to us. And the driver, his job is just to maintain the controls, to operate the truck, to run the truck. The purpose of the hose in front of the Vector is it's like a big snake with water in it. So what we have 2 different nozzles. This nozzle right here is for stop-ups. So if it's blocked, if there's a grease log or something in there, the point right here, plus the water that shoots out has pressure on there, it breaks it up. That's for the stop-ups. And when we're just doing our regular daily maintenance, we use this nozzle right here, which is smooth at the end, and it has a bunch of jets in the back. This one goes connected to the hose, and we're downstream, shooting upstream. We're going against the flow. So when the flow, we're bringing everything back towards us. We're at this manhole, bringing everything back towards us. This is spraying out water. So it's bringing everything back. And we usually run the truck about 15 to 2,000 PSI. That's enough pressure to bring everything back to us. So we're bringing whatever's in there, rocks, grease. Man, there's different types of stuff in there. So whatever, then while we're vectoring up, while we're shooting it, what vectored up means is vacuuming. It's just like a vacuum. If it doesn't get cleaned out, it's gonna cause a problem eventually in the line, in the sewer system. It's gonna either back up in somebody's house or somebody's business, or it could be all over the street. So that's where we come in and make sure we're maintaining the sewer lines, keeping them clean, that way they flow. Okay, today was like a normal day. We got here, went to our map, did what we had to do. I got an essential call on my phone to go handle this one call about a broken lid on Nathan Sycamore. So we went over there, We checked out the problem. We replaced the lid on the ring, the broken lid, we replaced it. And after that, we went to another call that I received about sewage being in the street. So we went over there and handled that problem. We vacuumed it up with the truck. What vacuumed up means is vacuuming. It's just like a vacuum. So we cleaned up the water, vacuumed it up, sprayed it down, threw some HTH down on the ground. And HTH is a powder form of chlorine. And after we received them 2 calls, then we had to get called out again for a previous call that we received last night. And we went over there to address the problem. We shot the line and vacuumed out the manhole. And it was on the customer side, not ours. Okay, when the shift is over, we come back to wastewater. We make sure we're fueled up, dumped out, then we come back and then we winterize. But the purpose of winterizing is to drain all the water out of the pump and the tanks of the truck, the lines. That way, when it freezes, it won't freeze the truck. So that's the purpose of the vacuum crew, is to strip the lines and make sure the system keeps flowing. My name is Valenta Ruiz. I'm a wastewater senior maintainer. And don't forget to check out our website or our social media.
Hi, I'm Phil Smith. I'm your Chief of Police here in the City of Roswell, New Mexico. And today we're going to talk about retention and recruiting in the 21st century. Currently we're down quite a few, as most agencies suffer in this state of affairs, this national environment. And we do a lot of our local. We target our locals because that's the demographic that we feel stays more loyal to the community, and since we promote a caretaker service, it's a natural maneuver to try and get our local people to take care of their own community, take care of their own friends and family, and take care of their own citizenship. It's interesting to note that only 1% of the population actually qualifies to be law enforcement officers once it goes through the physical, the psychological, the entry-level testing, interviews, so forth and so on. It can take 3 months to get hired in the hiring process, and it'll take you almost a year to become certified and actually released on your own. I will offer this, that being a law enforcement officer, you won't be a millionaire, but you will have a better than competitive salary for the economy that you're in. And one of the wonderful things that we still offer here at the City of Roswell is a defined benefit pension system. And what that is that at the end of your term with the Roswell Police, after 20 years, 22 years, 25 years, whichever term you decide to take, you have a defined benefit, which means it is established through your years on the job and the amount of money or salary you accumulated, and that is going to come to you in your retirement at the end, guaranteed money for you. And that is a wonderful benefit that not every vocation offers, not even the oil fields. We are caretakers, and that is what the job is. 99% of the time, we are taking care of people, we provide assistance to people, and then the 1% is what you see on TV and at the movies, where we're the Wild West Cowboys for 1% of the time. And we hire for the 99, and we train you for the 1%. Being a law enforcement officer is a calling, and it's not for everyone, but it can be for everyone. If you care about your community and you care about your family and you care about the way your society is protected, then it is for you. And we welcome you to join our team. We want you to be a member of our team to take care of our community. We welcome you.
Yeah, 19, 20. Oh, my dad bod has gotten a little out of control through this whole quarantine. But thankfully, I discovered all the virtual fitness classes at the Roswell Recreation and Aquatic Center. So I can take a class whenever I've got a free moment. Get my dad bod back in shape. So, I think I'm stuck. I am stuck. One of the other things I love about the Roswell Recreation and Fitness Center is that not only can I get an awesome workout, but I can also come over and work on my skills, like basketball. One of my personal goals for this year is to become a professional basketball player. Sup? Maybe I should try volleyball? One of the things I love to do on the weekends is rent one of these awesome cruisers from the Roswell Recreation and Aquatic Center. It comes with all the gear that I need to be safe, so I can take a casual cruise around Cielo Grande. The most important thing is you've got to watch out for those pedestrians. They can be extremely feisty. Hey! What's up? Nice stretch, bro. Wonder if I can stretch in blue jeans. One of the other great things about the Roswell Aquatic Center to get into shape is lap swimming. Of course, I have to learn how to swim first, but they have lessons for that too.
Hobbit,
What?
if you want to learn how to swim, you gotta get in the water.
But the water's cold.
It's a heated pool. Don't worry.
Oh, it is heated. Nice. New Year.
Hello, Roswell. Welcome to We Believe Studios, Studio B. Tonight we are having our first public forum for 2021. Thank you all for joining us. With me tonight, I'm Joe Neeb, the city manager, and with me tonight are the Ward 5 representatives, Councilor Angela A and Councilor Barry Foster. And we're all set to go into our public forum. So we have a few questions I think that we've received online and over a course of time, and so we'll take turns answering those, and we'll try to make this as lively as possible as we walk through it all. Both Councilor Foster and Councilor Moore have just returned from their school jobs today, so we're getting back to normal. A little bit better. We've got some kids in school now, it sounds like, and so everything's going okay there?
Oh, it was great.
Well, as can be expected.
Good, good. All right, we're going to take that first question up there right now. So, what ongoing projects are there in Ward 5? Now, you know, one of the challenges with this question is that we don't really look, when we start doing projects, we don't look at it as wards, Ward 1, Ward 5, Ward 4. What we do is we put all those projects together into an at-large situation, and we try to take care of that. But what projects do we have that are going on in Ward 5 that?
Well, and just like you said, we don't look at it that way. And the most exciting project that I see that we're doing right now, and although it's a really bother to me, and I'm sure it's a bother to a lot of people, you know, Lee Street right at Deming Bridge is shut down because we're doing some water main work right before we're going to revamp that whole bridge and replace that bridge and actually have sidewalks so pedestrians aren't having to walk in the driving lanes that we've had to for well, since it was built. I mean, and for 10 years, that's one of the things we've pushed, and it's $1 million project that's going to be started. But that's not actually in Ward 5, but it's one of the big, nice ones that's going on in the south part of town. We have several others.
The park, I think the
yeah.
splash pad
Yep.
at Carpenter Park, the parking spaces over there, the money that was that the government, the state gave us.
The
to-
legislative dollars,
legislative
the
dollars. That's the word.
ICIP funds for
Yes.
for the Carpenter Park. That we have the splash pad going in there, and that project was moving along very well until the weather changed.
Right.
And
They've got benches going on. They've got the benches out there now, and it looks like they're about to set the benches. So that's
So
exciting.
that's a start, right? That's
Yeah.
a good start.
And then that's a really nice one. That's visible right there along southeast Main. And I know that we have a few other projects that are going on down there. Some that the public really don't know as much about. You know, the landfill is in Ward 5,
right. Oh, that's
so the
true.
solid waste area. So we're doing a lot of improvements out there. We're getting ready to close the cell 4. And so we'll be closing that up, and then we'll be reopening the new cell 5. I know that we're going through some engineering on that stuff right now as well too. And then of course we have that big creature down there on the far south end of town, the Air Center.
Oh.
And
The battle.
And we always have projects going on down there. I think one thing, and then what we can talk about maybe some of the little projects that are in there, but I don't know if the public really knows that in the next 5 years we'll be spending over $20 million in that Air Center. Nobody really sees that because of the taxiway improvements and everything that is happening down there. It doesn't get talked about as much because we're always talking about the current project. But there are over the next 5 years, there's over $20 million that's going to be spent down there on that Air Center.
Well, some huge visible one that is down there right now is the water towers. I mean,
Yeah, nice.
that's what $6-7 million.
Yep.
That's tripling the water capacity. I mean, it's going to be sad to see the red and white tower come down, but we've got this nice, beautiful Roswell green tower and the other one is soon to be painted too. So that's highly visible.
Yeah, those are going to be really nice in order to expand that. You know, you combine that with what Excel Energy has done down there about expanding out the capacity for electric as well too. That Air Center is situated for some really good years coming up.
Yeah.
So just a reminder for everybody that is watching, please type your questions into the comments section on Instagram, and we'll pick them up and we will place them up onto the screen and make sure that we get there. We have a question from Jordan Lawrence. How can citizens help?
Citizens can help by several ways. Voting, most of all.
Yeah.
Attending these types of meetings and putting the questions that they have out, by contacting their city councilors. There's quite a few ways to help. There's all kind of volunteer groups that are out. So if you want to help and with the animals, they have all kind of, at the zoo, they have different types of projects and different types of commissions and things going on. So there's plenty of ways to help if you want to help.
Yeah, and if they want to get a little bit more into the organization as a whole, we have I think 62 citizen positions on different boards and commissions, and so they're able to step into that world a little bit, deal with some of the red tape of bureaucracy that we all love.
It's red.
But it's I think what's really nice about it is that it helps get them an understanding for that. But like you talked about, is that the volunteer groups are so important for our community. I think that is what makes Roswell that much ahead of everybody, is that we have committed people within every one of their little groups and the organizations that are trying to help us, and then they can go all the way up to into all the different the boards and commissions. Some of them are required by law. Some of them are there. I know that one that generally has challenges with people to be involved in is like the Commission of Aging.
Really?
Yes, it's interesting to watch because I know that the ones that are on there are very committed in order to help, but what they see is that I think it's just more challenging because it's a lot of vision planning as far as what we need for the future for our elderly, for how do we keep our programs going for those generational needs and such. So what is the most important to you in your ward?
I guess it's really weird. I guess because we're both teachers, and so of course mine is going to have to do something to do with the young people. But I think getting people involved would be very important to me because I feel like we have these forums all the time, and the same maybe one or two people show up, and those type of things. So I think it would be important to me if we can get more people involved, so the things that we're interested in doing, or the things that people in our ward are interested in seeing happen, if they would come to some of these things or ask, and then maybe put something out there so we can, have some idea how we can help. But the kids are most important to me, so the parks and things are fun to me. The zoo is important to me. So anything that has to do with the livelihood of our young people, not that the older people are any different, but I guess because I teach high school, there's those kind of things. There's not very much for our young people to do in Roswell.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and when it gets back to, the reason I'm a city councilor is for kids. Our kids are our future. The reason I'm a teacher is for our kids. I mean, the reason I'm on the Boys and Girls Club board is because of kids. Kids are important to the lifeblood of Roswell, and so the parks. One of the ones that I keep pushing and keep wanting is on South Virginia, the old Chisholm school site. I want the city to develop that into a park for those students or kids with between Southeast Maine and Maine, sure, so that they have a place to go to play. But there's just so many other things that are big too. The zoo is big, and it's new. The facilities out there are awesome, and so. But the other part about being on the city council is we've got to drive economic development, and so the base has some great things developing out there. We have a wide body hangar that's looking to be built, and so we've got that project that's working. We've got some infrastructure out there, and infrastructure is not something that most people, it's not a sexy thing to talk about because no one really wants to talk about your sewer or your water, but those are the two most important things we have in our town. Streets are important, but if you don't have, so you can't flush your toilet and you can't get water in your sink, you don't care about a fire department, police department, or your streets. You're not going to live in a town that you can't flush your toilet or you can't get water. So we've got some of those developing out at the base too, and so those are really important to the city.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks about the infrastructure that we have under the ground until it doesn't work right. Exactly. And then when it doesn't work right, then it needs to be fixed.
It's only a problem when it's your problem.
Yeah.
Just a reminder to the viewers to make a comment to your Facebook and Instagram. Ask us a question. It doesn't have to be just on Ward 5. We have the city manager here can answer any question. He knows everything, so he can answer any question that you might have. So it doesn't have to be from Ward 5. And so as we continue to talk about what's going on in Roswell, take the time to make a comment.
Yeah. And that's what makes it a lot better. And I know Councilor Foster just kind of covered a little bit of this question, but what projects are happening out at the Air Center? I think one of the big ones that has been in the press, we were hoping to have it actually break ground now, but they're still having they're still tightening up their financial needs. But that's what's called the Ascent hangar. And that's a large body hangar out there so that it can fit the bigger planes inside so that they can do the MRO work, which is the maintenance and repair operations for those planes. And so we have a new business that's going to come out there. What they're hoping for is about 150 jobs to begin with, up to 360 when they're hitting full capacity. They're working on their financing. The hangar will be on the Air Center property. Chavez County's involved in this one as well too. They're helping provide some of the funding in order to do the site improvements with that project as well too. And so we have a great partnership with this one. We're trying to work all those details out. I think having this many partners with it has made it a little more challenging to bring it about, but it is also going to strengthen it, I think, through the fruition of the project. So.
A good question. I mean, how does the Air Center benefit Ward 5? And it benefits the whole city. But just like you said, 140 jobs. Well, and they're not minimum wage jobs either. You're talking about $40,000, $50,000 a year just starting out jobs times 140. So you figure, that's bringing $6 million of revenue of salaries into the city, and then that also floats down to all our stores, our businesses, and so they spend that salary here, and that just generates a lot more other jobs.
Yeah, and I think that's some of the incredible things that are happening out the Air Center with all those planes parked out there. So we've become that storage facility with all these planes, and these planes are meant to fly. And so the idea is that they're storing them now because of because they couldn't fly all last year because of the COVID response and everything. But these planes have to be ready to fly. And so every 2 planes, I think, equals 1 job out there at the Air Center. And I will tell you that I'm going to make a plug that if anybody has ever thought about going into that industry, Eastern New Mexico University Roswell has a program
Aerospace.
for that.
Yes.
And so I think that's the really neat thing about this, is so that you can get your career started here in Roswell and stay in Roswell in order to make it all work.
Right.
And so I think that's really, really good with that. We're going to go to the next question here. Why was Carpenter Park selected as a location for the new splash pad?
Well, I guess that's for me to answer, since I was the start of that point. I actually, we had the park on South Virginia on our ICIP. I'd been pushing for it. So we had a Roswell legislative dinner day up in Santa Fe, and so I went up there, and then the next day I shook the trees and went around and talked to all our legislators and said, hey, we really need a park for this area. And so I got cornered Senator Pirtle, and he goes, I really love the splash pad we have on 2nd Street. We need one further south. And so he really wanted to put it where Chisholm School was. And if you know anything about our splash pad on 2nd Street, when it opened, it was getting 1,100 to 1,200 visitors a day. Well, that little neighborhood down there, if we had put a splash pad in that area, they would want to hang me, and I'd be getting up on the gallows voluntarily, because those people wouldn't want 1,200 people in their neighborhood. And so we had the idea to go ahead and move it to Carpenter Park, which is right on the highway, and it's highly visible, and those kids in that, it's pretty close to the same area, and we already had a park developed there, and it wasn't going to cost as much. So we got the money to put it there, and I think it's going to be a great one.
Did you see the question?
The question is, what is an ICIP? And I saw it. It's infrastructure capital improvement. We have a list of all the infrastructure and capital improvement that we need for our city, and it's a very long list. And so that's where we pull from that to ask the state for money for those things.
So when you look at what the City of Roswell does with the ICIP and our own capital improvement plan, there is money that the city spends on their projects themselves. That is the money that we generate through our property tax, through our gross receipts tax, and we generate that money. What the ICIP is that's the legislative dollars. So every year when our legislators get together in order to look at the new laws for the state of New Mexico, they look at all those different pieces for that, how to govern in New Mexico. Another part of their responsibility is what's called the ICIP. And so all of the legislators within the House, within the Senate, and the governor also has some funding of her own as well too. And so this money gets divvied up within the state, and they try to put that money back, and so they give out to the representatives, to the senators. They give out so much of that money in order to put back into the districts that they're coming out of. So Chavez County actually runs right around a little less than $10 million a year for ICIP funding. Last year was an anomaly because the governor helped us with the Air Center with the extra $5 million. But we get about $10 million in Chavez County. That's divided up. Roswell usually sits around $3 million a year. So
every little bit helps.
Do
city councilors have office hours? No.
Yeah.
Did I can count? No. Did I can count? No.
I will tell you. I will answer as well too.
The manager has office hours.
The city council's job is a 24/7 hour job with a part-time pay.
Part-time.
All right, it's a
quarter time.
It covers a little bit of your per diems, and so. But I think that's the intent, is that city councilors, your job, it's a service type job. You're committed to helping make the city better, and so you devote a lot of time. We lose a lot of time in our meetings and everything, but that's not where the work really happens. The work happens as you're preparing for those meetings, as you're trying to look at each one of those topics. And so, yeah, the office hours for I think you guys are is almost a constant, and
The emails in the middle of the night.
emails in the middle of the night, the phone calls.
And to have office hours, you first have to have an office, right? And my wife would probably like for me to have an office where I could keep all the papers and everything out.
Right.
That's right.
She loved it when she heard we were going paperless. She still hasn't seen that we've gone paperless yet.
Yeah, paperless just means less.
Less, and so it's just not, just a ton of paper, not 2 tons, I guess, but yes.
And the
But I
best
think,
way, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead. And the best way to contact us is either our email, or we have boxes. Each of us has a box down at City Hall. You
Yes.
call City Hall, and so anytime you want to reach any of us, you can go to the website and send an email or contact us through there. Most of us have our contact information and bios on the city page, so anytime that you would like to reach any one of us or any other counselors, you can go.
Yeah,
through the city page.
and you guys take messages just about any way. I mean, the notes work as well too. I know when we're tackling difficult issues at the city council, you rely heavily upon people just contacting you and letting you know how they feel about it. And I think that goes back to that question: how can you help as a citizen as well too? We try to put as much of this information out there so the public sees it coming. If the public can see it coming, then they can respond to it and say, well, we don't like this or we like this. And I think we do a very good job, at least of the citizens that do contact you are very well representative. But I think there's a lot of voices out there that just need to understand: call, email, drop a note. It doesn't matter. You'll take the information and you'll try to make sure that it goes with that.
And we may not be able to fix it right there or whatever, but at least if we get an email or a call or something like that, when we get ready to go and do our votes at our meeting, if we had a few people come in and tell us, explain, because I might think one way, and then I get a couple of calls or responses from other people, and I realize, well, that makes more sense. I really haven't thought about it that way.
That's
so
right.
Sometimes, most of the time, we only hear when people are upset. It'd be nice to hear every once in a while if, if
That's
they're
right.
okay with something we did, but most of the time, we get responses when they're upset. And so I just think if we, if people take the time, like those out there watching right now in Facebook land and Instagram land, if you have anything like during these forums or during these times that you want to talk about, if you have a question that you want to have answered, there's plenty of time before now. After there's going to be the live on the face. You can go on Facebook later on, and we'll make sure that Mr. Neeb calls each and every one of you personally to respond. But if you have, and seriously, if you have any questions, it's going to be open right now. You can text. You can not text or type your questions in on Facebook right now. We'll try to get to it.
And just as a reminder to everybody, this is our new format for our public forums. If you take the chance, like us on the comment section. Let us know if you like this format and everything. It's really nice of the counselors to come out on their day off, I guess, or right after work, and help share some of what we work on in the city constantly. We have 540 employees that are doing all the different jobs that they do. This is the organization. It's over $100 million organization that operates, and we're tackling one issue to the next. If you've never seen a city council meeting, you need to, because we tackle everything from the airport to the zoo, A to Z. It doesn't matter. We have to go from issue to issue to issue. So, this is a current activity and event. I shared a little bit this at the last city council meeting. But what is the city doing to remedy the water billing issues? And we talked a little bit at the city council meeting that night about the challenges we've had with the software turnover and everything. For those of you that may not have heard all of that, we started 2 years ago. We started with a full software overhaul, and we were replacing an old, antiquated system. We were bringing it up to date. We were putting all the pieces together, and billing was just one of those pieces. But the challenge we have with going with an old system to a new one is that the translation, once you flip the switch to go live, you deal with all the items that kind of come out of that don't make sense. And so that was one of the biggest challenges we've had. I think a couple of the other things that we talked about that evening as well too is that we know that there's depending on how the formulas, how they convert the the readings to dollar amounts. So they're going from gallons or cubic feet, and they're changing it over to a dollar amount. We have issues at times with some of the percentages being off. And so I know we had one employee that used, according to the bill, used over 2 million gallons of water in a month. Just for those of you that, if you want a comparison with that, an average house uses about 3,000 gallons a month. So those bills are incorrect, and we will be correcting those. But I think the one thing that I wanted to make sure I pressed home about that, and I'd like to hear from you guys as well too, is that right now we had stopped shutoffs due to COVID. People were coming in and out of their jobs because nobody was able to work. Everybody's money was coming a little differently. So we stopped the shutoffs because of the COVID response last year. We have not reinstituted that, so nobody should be getting shut off for a non-payment. Nobody should be getting shut off for a bad bill. And I think the other thing that we talked about at the council meeting that you guys really wanted to make sure that happened, we are not penalizing anybody for having this hiccup within the payments. I think the biggest challenge for everybody has been that a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people keep their documents solid. And I think that's what the frustration has been for most of them, is that they don't have any form of contact to say, I've gotten this one done, those goals and everything. And I think that's been the biggest challenge for most of our people. We did open up at the adult center, and we'll continue that as long as we need to help anybody that has problems that have challenges with utilizing computers and everything. We'll help them set up the new accounts within that system, and we'll keep working on that. We did hire additional staff, and my understanding is I think a lot of people and a lot of individuals are getting phone calls now the way they should be. They're getting calls back rather than waiting days before they get a call back. And that is something that I think we just need to make sure that continues to happen.
It was a little scary, honestly, to think of people, because I'm one of those that pay attention to the bill. And when I got the bill, it was a bunch of bills. And even knowing it was going to happen, it kind of shook me. So, thinking of the people that didn't realize how it was going to happen. And we know that change is painful sometimes. And so I appreciate the city's idea that they're not going to cut anybody off. And I was telling one of my neighbors, I said, even though you don't got a bill, you use some water, so you should be putting some money aside or putting a little bit in, because in the end you're going to get this ginormous bill if you don't do that, if you don't keep, so we have to kind of think about it. If you're able to, and if you call them, talk to people, they're not going to cut anything out, let people know what's going on. We're not, animals, so we understand that things are going on, and I appreciate the idea that you're opening up the place for some of the older people who don't know about computers. They don't use those type of, I don't know, but there's some a little probably more savvy than me, but anyway, I think that I appreciate that. And we wanted to take this time to thank Mr. Antonio Galindo for his comments about enjoying this format. And we're so glad that you do, and come again anytime you want. And if you have any more questions, just keep typing. I think we got a little more time, so if you have any more questions, just keep them coming.
And I know with the utility billing issue as well too, the article that was in the paper sharing the apology from staff in order to make sure everybody understood that we had the problems. I think what got lost in the article, it wasn't all of the information. The intent of the article was it gave you a broad overview of what was happening within that, but I really believe that you needed to, if you have questions, if you still have concerns, that was not that article was not the report. That article was not all that other information that came with it. All you have to do is give us a call, and we'll make sure that happens. So we will be wrapping up here in just a little bit, and so I do thank you. We do have one other question I think that we're going to drop on you at this point in time. But and this is that vision planning. This is that look at, if money was not an object, if there's no problem with the money, what would you do for the city?
Well, I think the first thing I'd do is we would rebuild all the roads. Widen some and get ready for the influx of people, since we're going to hit over 50,000, and so we're going to have a lot of other things to do. So fix the roads, but the roads still wouldn't be it's still the other portion of the infrastructure that we don't see that we got to also fix. There's a lot of our sewers that are antiquated, a lot of our water lines that we've got to, I mean, we have 74 miles still of asbestos line, transite pipes that we've got to replace, and 74 miles is a lot of miles. And that's just a small amount of all the miles of pipe that we have in the ground. So those are the things. I mean, it's not, like I said before, it's not sexy. No one really wants to talk about that stuff. But yes, those are the important things.
Well, I'm not going to say if money's not a matter. I don't care about your roads. Y'all can take care of those as long as I still have some money left. One of my things I think would be to redo the airport. I think if we want business to come in, we need to have some place for them a nice place for them to come into.
Sure.
I would love a new terminal
Yep.
inside there with the thing that you go down and that kind of thing. That would be one thing that would be important to me. And also, I like one of those things like Vildosa has, with the water, the tubings, and the big old fun center type things. I would love to have one of those on the south side, a big fun center. And I'd always said, if I get rich and I saw this land right here, I could just do one of those big old fun centers with the tubers and the water and the go-karts and that kind of whole little indoor, outdoor kind of fun center for the young people. Like I said, that's my heart. So after we, done that in the airport, I think the airport would be something that would really, I know it was talked about a little bit on one of our lists prior about getting some money for that, but I think that would be awesome. I think if we had a bigger airport, we can probably do more about getting some more flights in and out. I get a lot of constituents asking me, when are we going to get a flight to Denver? When are we going to get a flight? So I just think if we had airport.
And speaking of that, we do have, they did make the announcement, we do have Phoenix starting up in April.
Phoenix is coming back in April.
April, so we have that. One of the questions we had is, if you don't get the paper, where can you get this information? Well, that's a great question, but right now, if you're watching this, you probably already know we have a Facebook page. We also have a YouTube page where we post every single city council meeting, committee meeting, and council meeting, and you can listen to those statements and find out. You also can go to the city council website and pull up our agendas and read all those to see what's going on in the city.
Yep.
In our forums too, you can always have this. We have this back up. You can see the forums.
In fact, March 18th, if you come back here, March 18th, we have another forum for our talking about our enterprise funds.
Yep.
So that's a great one.
And we want to thank Hobie and Varasso and Maggie Salazar. Thank you for your comments. We had I'm reading our teleprompter as well too as we go. This is something new for us as well too. But it's like we continue to try to find ways to get out there. Everybody gets their information in today's digital world a lot of different ways, and so we keep trying to put things out there. I do want to go back and just a little bit with the even the roads. The roads are one that we've been trying to find that magic way of dealing with that. I know for even the 4 years I've been here. And we have a study, an inspection, and a review of all of our roads. We estimate that we're going to need about $16 million if we wanted to hit it to that top level of the gold standard of holding all our roads. Just for you to know exactly what those differences are, is that if $16 million is what we would love to have if we had enough money for the roads for every year. We are spending right now almost $9 million a year. It's about $8.3 million a year on our roads. There's $7 million that goes into everything from our road crew, street department, pothole repairs, and everything. And then we do replacement projects on top of that. We are hoping that the austerity or the methods that we took to the budget this last year that will provide us a little bit more revenue in order to generate a little bit more into projects. That remains, we'll be going into the budget cycle. It's really interesting because we finish the budget like in July, and then we start right over with the next year's budget at that point in time. So we start looking at that. We will make sure to share the city's YouTube account information as well as additional links. They can also be found on roswell-nm.gov, Roswell, New Mexico, Gov. And you can get out there. Again, we'll take information any way we can. We want to make sure that we're serving in the right way. Everybody has different ideas, different opinions. We appreciate that. I think the diversity of our community is our strength as well too. It's not a problem with having a difference of opinion. It's really pulling it together and collaborating and making something happen with everybody together. And so I think that's the big thing. So we'd love to, here's another question. We'd love to see additional things in Roswell, like the Fun Center as well. Great for residents and tourists. Thank you. I think the big thing with that is that some of the stuff that is happening is private investment. These are people, these are our small businesses that are out there making a difference with it as well too. And I think by serving with the city, we partner within that. So it doesn't have to be the city to do it. It is a small business.
And that's one of the misconceptions they have about city council, because one of the things that happened when I first got on city council is someone came to me and said, why won't you let Route 21 come into the mall? And it's like, that's not the city council, that's private enterprise. It's our job to work and help bring in economic development, but we don't decide what business is going to come into this town. They decide, they're the ones spending the money.
Yep.
And so we don't say no to a business.
And if you have any, I thought about the help ticket. We didn't kind of talk about that. We talk about if they have lights Fixit ticket.
The Fixit Form,
Yes. So if you have any lights are out or street problems, or you see anything, you can go on to the Roswell dash.
Yeah, the Fixit Form actually works for if the street lights are out, if there's a pothole. It'll actually work if you have that neighbor that just doesn't take care of their property well. We have a couple of them in town. I think they moved in from out of state.
My neighbors are going to be calling on me now.
But the Fixit Form works very well for getting the information in there. What really works well for the Fixit Form too is that because it's a digital process, we never lose that information. And so the phone call's nice. If you want to talk to somebody personally, we'll do it that way as well too. But the Fixit Form, it gets accounted for because it gets a number and it gets addressed.
Well, and the other thing about the Fixit Form that I loved when we first instituted it is I finally taught my wife how to put it in, and that kept me, every time she came and had a list for me to tell people on, she started. And then she said, they emailed me back and they told me they fixed it. They told me that this happened. So.
And the questions keep coming, so we appreciate that as well too as we're wrapping up. But this one is an alien themed or a water park still a possibility. There were rumors long ago.
Rumors.
And what I call it in the economic development world is the kicking of tires. Right. We have people kicking tires all the time, thinking whether or not they can start something here. That alien brand is such a big, strong brand for us. Everybody loves to have a piece of Roswell to take home with them as well too. And I would say that yes, some of that is probably still a good possibility. I don't know.
Time from now.
Yeah, I don't know of any that are really knocking right now, but I do know that when we talk about even our business ventures, and if you check out downtown Main Street and everything, we have more businesses down there now that are associated to pedestrian type traffic.
Right.
It's a really good thing to see, and we see that everybody is happening to do that. So.
And we're developing the east of Main Street, in the train station area, and there's a big economic development going in there. The state's putting some money in towards it. The city's working towards it.
That's a great one. The title of that project, if anybody wants to watch from home, is called the Great Blocks Project. And so there are state tourism dollars, there is state EDC dollars. There's a lot of money going in there in order to help continue to develop our downtown into a more pedestrian friendly and actually off of Main Street as well too, getting over on the Richardson, getting over on the Virginia, making it a little bit broader version. I think that investment's going to help at least help our downtown stay vital and viable for the future as well too. And I think that's going to be the key to a lot of people's downtowns as we go in that. Today's forum is coming to an end. If you have any additional comments or questions, now is just let us know.
And if you've watched this and it was of value to us, share and like.
Yeah. And remember to join us on March 18th where we'll discuss the city's enterprise funds. For those of you that may not know the difference is that we have what's general obligation fund. That's where all of our property tax that we purchased, that's where it goes in, takes care of police, fire, streets, parks. But we also have this other side, which are called the enterprise funds. And that's generally water, sewer, solid waste, and air center is an enterprise fund. So there's a few other enterprise funds. The challenge that we always have between your checkbook at home and the way the city managed their finances, we're tied into legal requirements as to how some of that money can be spent.
Exactly.
And so we can't just move it over in a way. You guys do a lot of magic with your votes and everything to try to keep everything balanced out with the budget adjustments and everything. But there are certain dollars that have to go to certain things, and that's the balance that we have to. Counselors, is there anything else you would like to add in this short little time that we have left?
No, just thank you for watching. If you have any questions, email, call.
Well, and I'd just like to say, Roswell, we've got a great town here, and it's just us talking it up, and it is great. I mean, so it's great to represent Ward 5, but it's also just great to live in the city. So thank you.
Roswell, thank you for joining us tonight. It was great to see you. We're in the We Believe Studios, Studio B.
We believe.
And we're hoping that this outreach, this communication will be valuable to you as a resident, as a citizen, or just somebody that's interested in what's happening in Roswell. Please let us know where we can help. We're all here to serve.
Thank you for joining us, and have a great night.
Hello, I'm Matt Miller, Fire Chief of the Roswell Fire Department. Today, we're going to discuss escape planning for the home. In accordance with the National Fire Protection Association, some quick safety tips are: to make a home escape plan, draw a map of your home showing all the doors and windows and discuss the plan with everyone in your home. Know at least 2 ways out of every room if possible. Make sure all doors and windows leading outside open easily. Have an outside meeting place like a tree, light pole, or a mailbox a safe distance away where everyone should meet. Practice using different ways out. Teach your children how to escape on their own just in case you can't help. Close all doors behind you as you leave. This could help slow the spread of smoke, heat, and fire. Also, please remember to sleep with bedroom doors closed to buy precious time in the event of a fire in your home at night while asleep. Thank you for your time, and please stay safe.